Hey, RIOT podcast time. I'm looking for the stuff because I have to write the paragraph too.
So he's looking up the introduction that explains everything you can look forward to in our podcast today. While he does that, don't forget to say hello. Text 8772 RadioU. Even though we're only in the studio certain hours of the day, if you just mark that you're a podcast listener and put your name in your text message, then we'll get that and we'll see that when we come into the studio next time. See, there's one there.
Right. Wow. It's happening, guys.
And you can also follow us at RadioU or RadioU Riot, either of our Facebook pages, to say hello there if you want this weekend.
All right. So what?
Did you find it?
Somebody just sent us something that says, please consult your doctor before taking any supplements.
Maybe that went to the wrong place.
I don't know what the... Okay, so let's take a look here, Nikki. I've got a gas station robbery, a cheaper Tesla model, a couple of gym memberships.
Discussion.
Nintendo websites. Listen, let's just skip ahead. The best thing in the whole podcast is Anderson Cooper. Really hit Obi to where he's just been enjoying it all morning, not even in the podcast, but just outside of the podcast and the show, because he has something that corresponds with what we're going to talk about something that Anderson Cooper said a couple of days ago at this point, but still resonates with a lot of people. I just want you to know I have an Olive Garden gift card, okay? And if you wanted to use it this weekend, whenever you use it, this is all you'll think about. It's all I can think about is that, nope, you know what? Just wait.
Save it until then. Save it until then.
We talk about that. We talk about some online game streaming, Nintendo thievery. I think I mentioned that. I have a little mental health consult with Nikki.
Just to check in, for the end of the week. That's fine.
And we talk about getting paid to have babies.
That's it.
Like, what does that mean? See? Stick around and find out.
Well, also, you could say it in case you were looking to move, but you needed a loan.
Something to consider.
It works that way, too.
All right. Well, you guys have a great day.
Thank you for listening, and thanks for, staying with us this whole week as we're back to the new year.
All right. And what do you just go home and rest this weekend?
I think so.
I have no plans, and I need to keep it that way.
Yes, you do. Just take a break.
Yeah.
We did enough this week, guys. We don't have to do anything else this weekend.
It's the riot.
Bye.
Listening to the worst of the riot is the equivalent of standing in line at the BMV. Ugh. Worst of the riot. RadioU.
So listen, if you want to tell people that you have some absurdly rich friend that just throws their money away, you can tell them about me.
Did you throw something away? Or meaning did you buy something?
I'm throwing some money away now, Nikki. Listen to how snotty and rich I am. I'm a member now at 2 gyms.
You are? Wait a minute. Why'd you go back to 2 gyms?
Because I just decided, it's a whole thing, but with where my schedule is and what I'm doing, sometimes I work out in the afternoon. That has to be by my house. I can't drive up to the studio to work out.
And that's the gym you had moved to.
Yes.
Okay.
And then some days, if I want to get exercise, I really need to do it as soon as you and I wrap on the show.
Uh-huh.
And so I just went ahead and, Nikki, I'm investing in myself.
Did you go back to Planet Fitness?
I did.
You did. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So, if you guys are like, man, how's he get so rich? I will tell you my grand total gym membership of 2 gyms right now, $35 a month.
It is the time since, attendance, I believe, is at all-time low. It is the time. And Planet Fitness took away their contract thing.
Yeah, they did.
So I think it is fine. It's just you were already at that.
I know. I just feel like it just feels extravagant.
Feels right, doesn't it?
It just feels extravagant. Yes, now I have 2 gyms I'm not going to.
They don't do the pizza or the bagel thing anymore, do they?
I don't know.
I don't think they can. I don't think you can put food out.
I'm literally looking for a place. I don't want to get into this too much with you guys, but I just needed somewhere where I could go and get a brief workout. One of the things that happened to me during COVID is I completely stopped working out. I think it's been genuinely, I'm serious about this. I think it's been really bad for my mental health. And so this is not a New Year's thing. It's not whatever, but I am trying to make sure that I get some exercise.
You're banging the desk.
Don't hit the desk. We're at a different desk. It can't handle it.
It can't handle you're banging the desk.
Okay, let me just lightly touch the desk.
Gentle with it.
Every single day.
Yeah, why?
So,
I mean, there's nothing wrong with that then.
Yeah. So you know what? $10 a month versus a $10 streaming service I'm not using every month. I mean, it's a new gym streaming service.
I just wish the bagel thing was still there for you. Wish.
The other thing, we've toyed around for the last year or so with working out before the show. I've just given up on that.
Oh, so you're not going to go back to that?
No, because it sounds like a great idea, but all that does is rob me of sleep.
Sure.
That's all it does.
But if you wake up early and can't go back to bed.
Right, it's an option.
Then you have an option.
And that, I should have started this before Christmas. That's when I'm really up early, but you know what? Whatever. You guys have a snotty friend on the radio.
Well, he's got 2 gym memberships again. He's back.
2 gym memberships. And again, boy, I just love to show you what my body looks like so that you're like, oh yeah, he looks like he's got 2 gym memberships.
It's fine. Everybody, we got to try to be a little bit kinder, right? So we don't need to say anything.
Kind of fit, kind of fat.
What you're about to hear will live on the internet forever. Sorry, internet. The worst of the Riot podcast.
It is the Riots on RadioU, 8772 RadioU. It's Obadiah, your snotty friend with 2 gem memberships. And
Good morning.
Nikki,
hello.
Who's here to balance him out.
Well, it's a team thing. If you want to think about it, I dumped mine a while ago, so I don't have one. So show-wise, we're still at 2 memberships.
Listen,
we're balanced perfectly fine.
The average gym membership in the studio right now is 1.
Exactly. So you don't have to feel bad.
I really shouldn't feel bad about it. But you know what? Since I'm so rich now that I've got 2 gyms and probably a yacht now, I think when you get a second gym membership, you just get a yacht.
I don't think that's the gyms we're going, so.
You don't think so?
I don't think so.
Right,
I don't feel like you need the pressure that you have to jump to something else.
It is sad. Like the gym I'm at, with this Planet Fitness thing, they have a second tier. And I was like, oh, that's too expensive.
That's too much.
I went from $10 a month to $20 a month. And I was like, what am I? Do I have a yacht now?
Are you made of gold?
What am I? I might be made of Tesla, though. Did you see that Tesla has now unveiled their least expensive model ever?
Oh, so what new car is this?
Oh, yeah.
And how much is a low price one?
Well, it's funny that you say it like that because let's be honest, it's a sliding scale when it comes to expensive and inexpensive.
It is less expensive than the other ones. So it's cheaper.
What would you, if I said to you that I could get you into a quote unquote
cheap
low
Tesla?
Cost, we don't use the word cheap at Tesla. Okay. Inexpensive.
It's wrong.
Tesla. What dollar amount does that sound like to you?
Sounds like $35,000.
$34,390.
Oh, do I win one?
You do.
Oh, yay!
Wow. You were within $100. You win both showcases.
All right. Well, what's the cheap one get you?
34,300. 244 miles is the range. Top speed of 135 miles per hour. It can do 0 to 60 in 6 seconds.
They're very fast.
5.3 seconds.
No,
okay?
it's got a very quick start.
That's wild.
Out of a few people that I know that have Teslas, most people hate them. There are a few that still like them, but I don't find anyone who's just in between with a Tesla. You either love it or you really hate that you bought it.
Okay, well, the only other person I know right now that owns a Tesla, I've never been in it. They've never
offered.
Yeah, but
let's save that to fix another time.
Yeah, they say they love it.
Oh, they do?
Yeah, they love it. The only issue that they have is that is the range on it, that they're like, oh yeah, we wanted to go to blank, but we have to have another car so that if they want to take a longer drive, they have to have this other car for it.
Or if they charge along the way.
Well,
I mean, nothing like pulling over for an hour or so.
Whatever.
But it's great. I mean, I don't drive a lot. I don't have a lot of distance between every place that I go to. I think I would be a good candidate for.
Oh, you'd be perfect
for a car like that, just because of the miles and stuff. But I don't know. It's still a bit of a price there.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Yes, it is. I'm just going to stick with my old internal combustion engine.
You go there and you're like, what can you do for a little less?
Do you guys have one that has like a mistake on it?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Just a little tiny dent. No one will notice.
Yeah. This one fell off the truck.
I'll take that one. Tell me what you're going to sell that to me for.
How to survive the riot. Do the complete opposite of everything they say. You're listening to The Riot on Radio U.
Now, I've been very transparent with all of you about the fact that I've had COVID.
Well, it's been
a journey.
It was. You had about 4.5 weeks. So October into November.
Right. It was like I think last week of October into November. I didn't come back until after Thanksgiving. Now, there was a week of vacation in there too. And for vacation, I did what I did for COVID. I laid around my house. Whee!
Yeah, it's just a different type of laying around. As long as you were feeling better.
Right. So, one of the things that I've been enjoying and the reason I've joined 2 gyms is that I've got some COVID immunity that I want to take for a drive.
So they said, or they told you that you got at least 3 months, but they don't know for sure beyond that point.
They told me that I'm probably immune for 3 months, but I should continue to take precautions.
Which you have been.
Which I have been, yeah. Wear a mask. Even at the gym, it's the whole thing of like, wear a mask in between places. And, so I'm wearing a mask around the gym. I'm washing my hands, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm doing all of that. But Nikki and I have just heard a tale that's a little concerning.
Well, I know someone who, it was in the summer, and they got COVID.
So summer, so like June.
Summer COVID, and now they have it again. And it's confirmed they have it again.
Shut up.
So it's outside of the window that they told you.
I don't care.
But they do have that. And I don't know, maybe
have it again.
I don't know if antibodies are different with different people, and some do you get more susceptible to? Like, I just don't know.
I mean, like we already know there are different strains of it.
And so you had a hard one. Like yours lasted and was way more difficult than most.
It was awful. Like I'm telling you, man, I still have stuff that pops up, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this feels exactly like when I was sick. So what you're telling me is that come February,
at least
I'm eligible to enter the contest again.
Possibly. You're right, though. The doctors don't know. And you could be different because maybe you had it so bad that yours lasts longer, like your antibodies or something.
Or maybe I had it so bad that they're like, oh, yeah, you're super susceptible.
He's back at it again. But yeah, someone has it for the second time.
Man, what the heck?
So it is possible.
I mean, I knew it was possible, but a lot of things seem possible, but then when it happens to somebody it's like, oh, okay.
Well, I think what you're
now it's like possible.
What you're at now is enough time has passed going through all this where you're now entering in the time where someone could get it again because we've been going through this for so long.
Well, I'll tell you what, 2 things. One, I basically have really put together a setup at home that would allow me to broadcast from home. 1, 2, I don't want to use it.
You don't want it again. No one wants you to get it again.
I don't know.
But you take precautions, so I think you should hopefully be okay. But you were taking precautions the first time. You're right. You were. Absolutely.
All right. Well, Nikki, I'm not going to be able to commit anymore just out of fear of the possibility.
No, it can't stop you with that, but you're smart when you do go someplace.
I'm choosing fear over everything. So that's my, that's my new slogan. I'm putting it on a shirt. Fear over everything.
Make sure you show that to a lot of people.
This is the Worst of the Riot podcast.
Oh, here it is. Here it is, Nikki. We were just talking about the person we know that is now on their second round of COVID. Just got a text from Jeff. And he says that he's got a friend that works in healthcare. She is just getting done with her second round of COVID.
Oh, and she had her first one in March.
Did she? Yep, March.
We're talking about like not that you're just having a long bout of COVID, but instead enough time has passed that if you had it earlier on, then you can have it again because enough time is gone.
Well, according to this article that I'm looking at here, the Centers for Disease Control just wrapped up a study they did. Now, let's keep in mind, this is a small sample size, and it was of healthcare workers, but they looked at 156 healthcare workers in the U.S. who tested positive for COVID-19. So they had the antibody test done 1 month after they developed their symptoms.
Okay.
And then they did it again 60 days later. So that would be the 90-day mark. And here's what they found. 94% of participants showed a decline in antibodies by the time of the second test.
So by the 90 days, you would show less antibodies.
Right. Which, I mean, to me, that makes sense that over time, the amount of antibodies you have would be less. 28%, though, experienced a significant decline, meaning that they lost a lot of the antibodies.
So do you have to lose all of them in order to get it again? Or if you keep some, does it help? Or does it just depend?
Now, keeping in mind that outside of advanced bio, there's only so much that I know.
Sure.
But my understanding is that, one, you could have antibodies and still get something.
Sure.
But two, the higher your concentration of antibodies, the better your chance of not getting it.
So you want to keep more.
Right. More is better. That makes sense.
But you're losing them by 90 days.
Well, they say that
in this study,
according to the study, there was also some research done last year that said the antibodies in your life have a 73-day half-life, meaning that at the 73-day mark, you've probably lost half of the antibodies that you had. Now, again, this is one of those things where with COVID, it affects people so differently. I have friends right now that have it, no symptoms. None. Me, I'm like, I don't know if I can make it. It was a lot of symptoms. So I don't know.
Well, it's interesting, though, that people are now, more information is now coming out about this, and if you can get it a second time.
So here's a quote from a doctor in regards to, you know what, forget the quote. Like his different I thought, well, here's the thing is I thought this doctor was connected to the CDC, but
it's not.
When you dig down a little bit, they're not. So I forget the quote. But that is something.
That's what they're saying.
And you know what? Like I'm back at the gym. I want to be there.
Well, I don't think there's anything wrong. I think you can still take, the necessary precautions.
What do I do? Turn into that person now that's like, I'm not going to let COVID control my life.
Well, you still have a few days on the 90 days, don't you?
Yeah, I still got some antibodies. Come on.
Things are never as bad as they seem, except when it comes to the riot. Then they're worse. They're always worse. It's the Riot on RadioU.
I just got off the phone with someone who will remain nameless. But, we were just talking about the idea of committing crimes very publicly. I love this. He said that working at a gas station, somebody robbed the gas station, and they filled up their gas tank with their credit card first.
Oh, my gosh. Oh, my gosh. And then went in and robbed it? Oh, you just don't think of those things, but you should. But not because you're not going to commit a crime, right, everybody?
The video showed the guy out filling up on his credit card.
I really wish he used his loyalty program, too. That'd be even better.
Officer, hang on. Can I still get my points?
Even if you're taking the items back.
And then he said, it gets better, though. The guy did it again. The guy got out of jail and did the same thing. He filled up at the tank or at the thing and then robbed again.
So did he fill up, go in acting like he was going to pay and then just rob, or paid actually from the credit card at the pump?
No, paid with the credit card at the pump.
Wow. And he didn't learn the first time?
I guess not.
Some people, the details are difficult, okay, for some.
Well, I mean, it's, you know what, I think
maybe
it always
he wanted to go back in. I don't know.
He did.
Maybe.
See Shawshank Redemption, where the guy was like, once he got out, he didn't know what to do. So
he went back in?
He wanted to go back.
What was the best way to go back in?
You just it's like you commit a little crime. And, it seems like a big crime to the person that's being robbed.
Yeah.
But you're like, oh, it's a... whatever it is. I'm
and
going
don't you
back.
get more time, like if you do it again? Because then you didn't learn anything from the first time, which is what they were trying to teach you.
They put you in your room so you can think about it.
And someone didn't think very hard.
Oh, man.
Oh, that's terrible.
That's incredible. But, Nikki, we all make mistakes. And are very good at making the same mistake again.
Twice.
I have done it in my own life. The difference between me and that guy is that my mistakes have not involved robbery or gas. Well, no, I've made some mistakes at gas stations, but that involved food I purchased at the counter.
I was going to say, is that the roller dog? Is that your only mistake?
Man, gas stations are a place to make mistakes.
Just which level is your mistake going to be?
They just are.
And are you paying for the items? If not, that leads to the biggest mistake.
Riot Podcast, RadioU.
I want to say what's up to Jerome. He's playing Cyberpunk 2077.
People are still playing that.
People are playing it.
Oh, my goodness.
I saw a video. You guys know. Hey, they got 1 million subscribers. They're legit. On Digital Foundry last night, they were looking at the Stadia version of that. That's the streaming Google service.
Wouldn't that be even worse?
No, they said it actually is really good.
Okay.
And it was, oh my gosh, it was
well,
crazy.
because you wouldn't need the console, and the console was causing the issues for Cyberpunk.
Right. So they said that it was pretty good, like a goodish experience.
Good enough. Did you keep Stadia or did you cancel too?
No, I canceled it.
Yeah, boy,
you did too, right?
Oh, it only took a few days.
Yeah.
It was just not a lot of games, and it just wasn't, Luna's tough too, but Stadia, was it in November? They offered like a free controller, and you got the free,
is a Roku, a Chromecast?
You got a free Chromecast
so you
with
can use
it.
it on your TV.
It was just, it's hard when they give you everything, except each month for free. I mean, it just wasn't worth paying for.
Well, you kind of feel bad because they're like, we're going to provide you with everything. And you're like, yeah, still not good enough.
Still not. So canceled that too.
Well,
so now I still have this Stadia remote that's just hanging out.
It's hard to say, though, because who knows? Like maybe if we didn't have, like Eric and I both have computers, you've got your phone. Like maybe if we didn't have those things, our attitude towards it would be different.
Yeah, but they just didn't have enough to keep me interested.
Yeah. So, well, me either.
Did you keep Luna?
No. I kept it. I did was it a 2-week trial? If you guys don't know, Luna is Amazon's streaming game service.
So you have Stadia, which is Google's, and Luna, which is Amazon.
Of the two, Stadia, I think, is the better deal. Or, excuse me, Luna is the better deal.
Sure.
Than Stadia is. And it worked fine. I did not find that Stadia or Luna, like one worked better than the other. They seemed fine.
But I think for for gaming that way, they have to provide the service for free. And then you just buy the games.
Well, see, it's either that or like with what Amazon does, I think it's $7 a month and you have access to, I think there's like 30 or 40 games there. So at the very least, you're paying for the service, but also you're getting something.
Yeah, but the games were just,
Well, she ain't lying.
So that
she ain't lying.
If you're not going to provide games, then there needs to be just a reworking of it.
Yeah. Well, good morning to Jerome. I still have Cyberpunk and I haven't played it. You know what? The only thing I'm playing right now, Immortals Phoenix Rising. It's the game the critics didn't like.
But Obi loves.
I have been enjoying thoroughly. And they're like, it's too empty-headed. Yes.
Yeah.
I like
just
that.
Perfect.
All you do is, it's too simple. It's easy. Yes. I like that.
Stick with that then, all right? Don't feel bad about it.
It is what it is.
You're basically listening to a real-time cringe compilation. This is The Riot on RadioU.
Grandpa, tell me about the chicken wars.
We talked a few days ago about, McDonald's in the end of February. I think it's February 24th. They're going to be releasing their 3 versions.
No, I think it's the 3rd. I think it's the beginning. Is it not? Okay, you go ahead. I'll double check that.
But they're going to be releasing 3 of the, like the Popeye style, Chick-fil-A style, where it's that sort of chicken with the pickles and the potato bun. They have those versions that are coming. So McDonald's had been testing that, but not nationwide. Now it'll go nationwide. So chicken's been back in the news.
Is correct. It's February 24th is when that hits McDonald's nationwide.
So now you're like, well, what else is there, right? Well, now KFC is back with something else.
They say they were doing their chicken sandwich. They did a test. And it was in Orlando.
Mm-hmm. Apparently, that was last spring.
It was successful. Here's what's crazy to me. This chicken sandwich, it is a 1/4-pound chicken sandwich.
They say it's massive.
That is huge. I mean, I'm not used to seeing that. It's amazing. It's a quarter-pound, double-breaded, all-white meat chicken breast on a buttery brioche bun. Come on.
Buttery brioche. We would be just as happy if it was just buns. We don't even need the chicken.
Dude, Costco has these brioche buns. You get like 100 of them for $3.
Brioche.
And I just make peanut butter sandwiches
Do you?
on them.
Oh,
it's good.
Brioche, potato buns, Hawaiian rolls. Those are not everyday breads that we can have.
Pretzel bun.
Oh my gosh, because we just can't handle it.
You can't put that in my house. You find me sitting there eating buns like I'm eating chips. I'm just pulling them out of the bag.
Sometimes I just put butter on it and I don't even toast it. It's the same thing with like the Costco bagels.
You know what? I toast it so at least I can say it's toast.
I don't even care about that. You're just like, okay, I'm just going to have bread now.
You know what? This is cold toast. It's fine.
It is perfectly fine. So from the testing from KFC last spring in Orlando, they are now going to be debuting the new massive chicken sandwich from KFC.
Yeah, they're saying end of February for that. So in some markets, it may be available already. Mm-hmm. So you know the KFC that you drive by, but you never go in? Like they may have it or not. It's hard to tell.
Depends on your city.
They say by the end of February, it should be, quote unquote, everywhere.
So for the KFC massive chicken sandwich, it'll be at all 4,000 KFCs.
That sounds good.
So now
I'll have that.
So if you're like at the end of February, you forget about all this time we've talked about it and you're like, gosh, I see chicken everywhere. That's the projected time for all this chicken stuff to start hitting.
That at the end of February, we will have the chicken wars.
Again.
And that is, make sure you're journaling about it and you're saving newspaper clippings because when your grandchildren learn about this in school, they'll come to you and say, Grandpa, were you alive when KFC went to war with...
No, see, it feels like they're trying to recreate what was already the chicken war.
So you're saying...
This is a recreation of that. We're living through it again.
We had Chicken War 1 and this is Chicken War 2?
This is the next one.
Okay. Well, you know, Nikki, they said that World War II was really just an extension of World War I. So Chicken War 2 is probably just an extension.
Maybe.
Of Chicken War 1.
But the massive chicken sandwich, that looks good. That'll work. That's just the right size.
I'll have one.
Using advanced technology, we've digitized and transcoded Obadiah and Nikki into a purely digital format. This is the Worst of the Riot podcast.
Yesterday, I got excited. Not a lot excited. I mean, is anybody a lot excited right now about anything?
So,
somebody.
A little excited is just enough?
That was just enough. It actually is cool. You know, we've talked here on the show several times about the fact that in February, on February 3rd, that's where I got that date from earlier. On February 3rd, Super Nintendo World is going to be opening in Japan.
It looks amazing. Now, it is smaller than you think, but it still looks great. It's got like a roller coaster thing you walk around.
It's got a Mario Kart roller coaster and
shopping area. There you go.
Of plastic stuff.
Yeah, that's it. It's at Universal in Japan.
Right. And so they've just posted their website. I love how it was advertised to me as their interactive website. All websites are interactive. Mm-hmm. But it like you can kind of look around, see what it's like. They're trying to make it look bigger than it is, just so we're clear.
It's all about the angle, you know?
Yeah, but that is not what we are here to talk about. Nikki, tell us the drama.
So Nintendo, who's known as being a company that does go after people.
They intensely protect their copyrights.
That goes after someone if you're using Nintendo stuff, any of their properties without permission. And I don't know, maybe they just don't give out permission a whole lot, but they're known for that and they're ruthless sometimes. So the website that, you know, covers Super Nintendo World with it going live, you'll see an image of Mario for its loading screen. And the drama about that is a Mario fan artist tweeted that is their image of Mario that they created using Blender. And that was from a few years ago, so it's not Nintendo's art that they're using.
That is crazy.
And he didn't give it to them. So it's not like they asked for permission.
I wonder how that works. Meaning that, okay, you create a piece of art that you don't have, in some ways, don't have the right to.
In the first place. Yeah, right. That's something.
So does that... boy, I'm sure there are legal precedent there because there is the whole fair use thing where if somebody creates a piece of art, they don't charge for it. They just put it out there, et cetera, et cetera. I would say Nintendo could argue fair use, but they're using it to profit from. Mm-hmm. So, I have no idea how that works.
So he had used it in 2017. He shared it as a download as a Patreon thing.
Oh.
So the art back then. But you're right. If you go back to the beginning of all this, Mario is not his permission to use for art in the first place. It's very, very messy. And you're like, they won't bother you about it. Well, Nintendo does.
They do.
They do get involved with that. There's been some very high-profile cases. You remember the go-karting in Tokyo where you can dress up as the Mario characters?
That was cool.
It
looked cool.
That was cool, but that was not allowed.
Nintendo said that's not cool.
Exactly.
But I thought it looked cool.
And I think it was before Christmas. They finally, after years, wrapped up on...
Oh, did they?
On that case. But yeah, there's a lot. So that was just some of the controversy. If you go to the website to look about Super Nintendo World, that's something.
They're saying... I stole from Nintendo stole from me. We're all stealing. Oh my gosh!
Man, if I did the art though, I wouldn't say anything. I'd be like, yeah, I did use your art though in the beginning, so maybe you shouldn't say anything about it.
Or you could just use it to get jobs. Like you can see my art featured on the Super Nintendo World website.
True. Maybe you can get a job with them.
Becomes part of your portfolio, and then if Nintendo says anything, sue.
I don't know if he could win that.
Nikki, you sue and you ask questions later. No, you can't win.
Do you even have enough money to go after Nintendo at all?
Do I have enough money to go to McDonald's today?
The Riot with Obadiah and Nikki on RadioU.
I had a conversation with a friend last night who has to now work from home all the time. And of course, I've got a few friends that are studying from home. I'll tell you what, man, that's kind of a hard sell. Like I've got two different friends that are in college. One of them was like that. I'm going on hiatus. Like there's no point.
Oh, they just don't want to do it from home
until I can get back in the classroom. Yeah. I am not going to keep dumping money into this. And I totally get that. But then I've got another friend of mine that is studying remotely. They're doing fine. Everybody has got different takes on what it takes and all that kind of stuff.
And it just depends on if that's a way that works for you. Like some people excel at that and some people need to be in a classroom or you need to work in a office. Like you just do better with that.
Yeah. So my friend last night took a look at my home workspace because I work at the station. I also do some work from home. And they were just like, how do you even live in this mess? It's so messy.
Oh, they don't think it's organized?
They think it's just this terrible mess. And like, how do you get anything done and all that kind of stuff? And
well, first off, how was their tone when saying that?
It wasn't. I could live with it.
Sure. Okay.
It's fine. I'm not mad about it.
But that's how you work. That's your space.
Well, I did try to explain to them the idea that I was like, okay, you first off have a real job. I don't. Second,
you don't have to say that.
No. I just felt like up front we should
be honest about that.
The other thing that is hard for me to explain to people is that even if you see me somewhere, like even though I'm working, I'm probably playing. And you're like, what do you mean? Like on the inside, I'm just playing. I'm playing with words. I'm playing with mice. Like I'm just playing. Like,
but doesn't
even
in your
though
mind,
I'm working, I'm playing.
But we talked about that before. Like in your mind, you do that, but that helps you focus.
Yeah.
Like some people have to have music going on, or you can even put a show on in the background and you can work better compared to if you work and you have the silence of your head, you wouldn't be able to do anything.
I'm playing all the time.
You're playing.
Fact, this playing thing is a real problem for me because I'm starting to realize that when people talk, they take their words seriously. And when I'm talking, I'm just playing.
Oh, no. Oh, so I thought it was just when you were working, but you're saying it's bleeding into other times as well.
Oh yeah, like when we're talking, I'm just playing. I don't know if I mean what I say. I'm just talking. I'm just having a good time.
Is that why sometimes even after the show, you guys are like, "Oh my gosh, I love that part," and we're like, "What? What did we do?
Huh?
What did we talk about?"
Oh yeah,
we have to keep track of it for our podcast, just so we know.
Yeah. So I don't know. For me, it's more like a play space. But what I was going to ask you is like, do you have anything at home where you're like, I have this piece of office thing, and this is what brings it. I keep hitting the desk.
Stop hitting the desk.
I know. This is what brings it all together. This is the thing.
For your at-home workspace?
Like, do I need a 3-tiered tray? Do I need a little thing that collects the paper clips, even though I don't have any paper clips?
I'm a little different. You know where you like to have more stuff around?
Yeah.
I don't. So I like to keep it pretty organized.
So you're probably not.
I'm not the one to ask.
You're okay.
And even worse is my digital organization as well. So I'm not even messy there, too.
Man, if you came and saw my space, you would just.
I don't think I could handle it.
You've seen it upstairs, like what my desk looks like up there. The problem is I just throw things. I don't care.
You just leave it there?
Just whatever. And man, at home, since I don't have anybody looking at it, it's so much worse.
There's no space.
There's no accountability now. So
well, I think it helps to have storage space because if you had a place you could put it away, because then it's at least not out. Because when it's out, that's affecting.
Then that just turns into what I would call a junk drawer.
Your whole thing's a junk drawer.
Just one big junk drawer. Like,
well, I don't know what else to tell you.
How do you organize it? Everything I need's in that box. Now, I don't know what's in there or how to get at it, but it's in there.
See, I always try to tell Eric, like, he's the type that can be messier. So I always just say, hey, why don't you just spend, like, when you're done with the day, you spend 5 minutes and just get through some stuff so it doesn't get so big 2 months later.
Yeah. No, I can't do that.
You can't. What about once a week? Like on a Friday?
By Friday, I'm so done.
You're so okay. Well, we'll pick another day.
I am so done.
And Sunday doesn't work because then you're sad because Monday's coming. Like a
Saturday's
Tuesday.
out.
What about a Tuesday?
On Tuesday, that's when I like to
make a bigger mess.
Other things.
Well, you think about it, but I'm just saying you could tidy then as you go.
Yeah, it's probably true. It's just hard. I mean, like the 2 or 3 minutes it could take to organize and maintain it.
It's just too much.
That's just a lot of work.
Aw. Well, again, it's your workspace, though. You do what you need to do.
Yeah.
Or if that's not doing anything at all, then that's also what works for you.
How about it's your workspace? Would you please do something?
Yes, that can work too.
If you're looking for all the funny moments you missed during the riot, we apologize. You won't find them here. There weren't any. This is the worst of the riot podcast.
Anderson Cooper works for CNN. He's the guy with the really white hair.
Yeah, okay.
So even if you don't know who he is, like you would know who he is. Well, he's been on a lot lately, especially with everything that's happened at the Capitol. And at one point, he made some kind of comment about the people that were at the Capitol protest.
Oh, it's the Olive Garden comment.
I so want to talk about this.
The Olive Garden in the Holiday Inn or something?
Yes. He made a belittling comment in regards to the Olive Garden and Holiday Inn. Now, Holiday Inn, I don't know, whatever. When I go on a trip, I'm just like, what's the cheapest something I can find?
Well, he was saying that for people who were at the Capitol who were what he was saying would be the Trump supporters, that they would just be going home and going back to the Olive Garden or going back to their Holiday Inn.
And not being responsible for the mess they were making, et cetera, et cetera. But boy, I'll tell you what, the Olive Garden Defense Squad
is out.
They are out in full force.
They're saying, wait a minute. Well, he made it seem like a negative. And people are like, well, wait a minute, what's wrong with Olive Garden? What are you saying?
I mean, my first thought was like, hey, I got an Olive Garden gift card for Christmas.
So he meant it just as a statement. But
so lowbrow.
But it came off in a mean way. You're like, what about the breadsticks?
Well, but you know what, though? Then again, I know what it's like to become, shall we say, arbitrarily standoffish in regards to a franchise. I'm looking at you, Applebee's.
But you should never, when you're broadcasting, if you're going to say something that you're trying to make a statement in a mean way towards a group of people, you should not also be specific about, organizations with it.
Well, my thought was...
So don't name, like, actual restaurants.
I was like, oh, I literally thought this. I was like, oh, is there an Olive Garden attached to a Holiday Inn in D.C.? Do you think
is that where everyone's staying?
Do you think that maybe he's talking about a specific location, or is he, in fact, making a blanket statement in regards to the franchise?
A lot of people are saying they're sure Anderson Cooper lives in a different world where he hasn't probably ate at an Olive Garden or had to stay at a hotel of that kind to him in some time.
He is an heir to the Vanderbilt fortune.
Yeah,
so
you didn't know he's
very wealthy.
He has money even on the other side.
Yeah. So did
he apologize? He doesn't care.
Does he do that? Like, what does he care? Like, maybe. I haven't seen an apology from him.
You just like the Olive Garden part because you have a gift card?
I love it. I just love the idea of he's like, going back to the Olive Garden. I was like, oh, I forgot I have a gift card. I do want to go back to the Olive Garden. I mean, I wasn't at the Capitol, but I had this like cheese ravioli thing when I was there in early December that I enjoyed so much.
Aww.
It's this like 3 cheese Asiago blend. It's just delicious. And, as far as Anderson Cooper's concerned,
that's trash to him.
That is a roller dog at the gas station.
But that's why
it's one they've thrown away.
That's why a lot of people don't like celebrities or personalities that don't really seem rooted in a realistic world.
Well, it's realistic to them, Nikki. And if you peasants continue to eat out of the garbage can, then so be it.
And stay at the garbage landfill. That must be the Holiday Inn to him.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, let's not be mean, guys. He shouldn't have been that way.
I just want you to know, and I just want to be super clear where I'm at. To me, Olive Garden sounds like I know it's, okay, listen, I know it's not like top tier.
Okay,
but to me, Olive Garden's like mid tier.
It's when you actually are eating at a place I haven't driven through. I know. I totally agree with you. Olive Garden's like a weekend choice.
Yeah, totally. And Holiday Inn, so much nicer than where I normally stay.
So I don't know what that says. I think we're all just like everybody else.
No, I think I need to get a job at CNN.
No, I don't know.
So that I can start looking down my nose at the Holiday Inn.
Well, again, though, he has a lot of money.
He does.
From other areas, too. So I don't think he's ever lived a life where Olive Garden was the more expensive choice than what you could have done.
Oh.
When are you going to use your gift card, though?
You know what? I thought about using it this weekend, but you know what? It's fine. I'm going to be slumming anyway, I guess.
Giving every novelty food the publicity it so blatantly desires. It's The Riot on RadioU.
Real talk, you should be texting us. Maybe not right this second, but if you've got something to say or you just want to say hi, make sure that you do say something. 877-2-RADIO-U.
And just to let you know that Obie's been laughing about the Olive Garden thing still the entire time.
For like 10 minutes.
So we've not forgotten it.
You know, I'm a raccoon. I'm cute, but I eat out of the trash like the Olive Garden.
Only if there's gift cards.
And I feel like I've really taken a step up. Like, ooh, I'm going to Olive Garden.
Going someplace nice. But yes, you can text anytime, anything, 877-2-RADIO-U. And make sure you text your name with it if it's your first time texting us.
Jocelyn from Westerville says, I would love an Olive Garden attached to a Holiday Inn.
Again, going back from Anderson Cooper, a few days ago, made a comment and concerning the Olive Garden and the Holiday Inn, and people are still mad about that.
I look down at my nose at Applebee's. It's a long story, but Andy says Applebee's used to have good food, and they shut down the Steak and Shake by buying out the whole lot they were renting.
Oh, so it's there.
Yeah. Want to say hi to Tim. Going back a few minutes, he says that he also has a messy workplace. He likes to have a little mess in his space.
Tim's going back to work today for the first time in a while because he ended his quarantine.
Yeah, buddy.
So good job. Welcome back.
And then Bridget wants to know, it was around this time yesterday, maybe a little earlier, that I found a website that is my new favorite place.
For merch, for like new t-shirts and stuff.
Kindofit.com. And she wanted to know what shirt I bought.
Did you order something?
I have not yet, but I want you to know that I am fully committed to, I want 2 of their t-shirts. Mm-hmm. And I'm not sure which ones I'm going to get. I am thinking that it might be there's the one where the guy is like doing I don't know what you call it, where you carry the really heavy medicine ball. Maybe it's just called a medicine ball carry. But it's like a medicine ball, but half of it's a donut.
On his shoulder.
And so it looks like he's carrying a donut hole. And I was like, yeah.
So
that speaks to me, man.
For these shirts, would you wear them to the gym or would this be your everyday wear?
Oh, it'd be everyday wear. I wouldn't. No. To the gym, I just wear, my Trash Panda outfits. The kind of stuff I'd wear to Olive Garden,
You work through those outfits a lot. So you want to make sure you protect the new merch, the new shirts.
Actually, it's funny that you'd say that. One of the things that I do is that I have a lot. I mean, from like a while ago when I was hosting TVU's Most Wanted. See, a while ago, I have a lot of T-shirts from that time that are
the
like
old band shirts?
RadioU shirts,
Yeah.
band shirts, some of which that I'm going to say perhaps are not in my current dimensions. And you know what?
Size-wise?
I just wear those tight tees off to the gym.
So you can just use them there.
Yeah, I do. So I kind of hate the fact that when you see me, I'm wearing a RadioU shirt in the gym. It feels a little on the nose. But you know what? Whatever. I got a lot of them. Many.
It's fine.
So many.
Well, thanks to everybody for texting. And yes, you can text us anything.
And hey, just to be clear, our newer merch, no.
Oh, those
are gym shirts. Those are Olive Garden shirts.
You wear those when you go out to pick up your food. So
I'm on a date using my gift card, and I'm wearing the all new RadioU shirt that actually fits.
The new Phantom tee, that's like dressing up. So
oh yeah.
It'll look good.
Come on.
This is the worst of the riot on RadioU.
Look, I'm a pretty good person. I'm 80th percentile, 89th percentile. Really great. Like, pay my taxes, haven't been to jail.
You're doing good.
Don't smoke. And again, depending on how you feel about smokers, that really makes me a great person. If you are a smoker, I'm sorry, I love you. See, okay, there's a point to this, I promise, right? Most of us think of ourselves as pretty great. So the idea of you don't even really need God. What do you need God for? You're doing pretty good on your own. One of the things I've noticed in my relationship with God is that with God, I'm super honest. And sometimes this is how I roll in my relationship with God is I just talk to God about, what I honestly, what I want. So last night I'm talking to God about something and I couldn't believe what came out of my mouth. Mm-hmm. I told God, I was like, I want blank, blank, and blank. And then I was like, look at how terrible I am on the inside. And you're like, oh, no. Hey, can we get real for a minute? I was super honest with God about something. And when it came out, I was like, you know what? That's not good. Like that feeling, that opinion, that thing that I'm holding in my heart is ugly. It's right on the borderline of hateful. It's ugly. And it was this interesting moment to sit there and realize, wait, I may not be quite as good of a person as I thought I was. That's ridiculous. But it was, you know what? It was true. Here's the beautiful thing. Do you know that God loves me anyway? And here's the other thing that's great. Now that it's on the table, that's something that God and I can work on. And here's the thing I think is a lot of times we just give ourselves a free pass when in reality, one of the reasons that the world we live in can be such a messed up place is that we're not being honest with ourselves. We're like, hey, I'm a great person. But we go out and we do some things that come from some unresolved things we have in our heart. When I spend time in front of God, God's like, hey, this thing that you've got in there, we really need to take care of that. That's not a good thing. And so God and I get to work on it. And I am convinced if more of us spent time with Jesus, talking to him and being honest with him, and when some of that ugly honesty comes out, and it does, letting him forgive us and go to work on us a little bit. I think each of us has got some stuff that needs work. And let's be clear, I would put myself at the front of the line in that circumstance. I have things that need worked on. Why don't we just let God go to work on all of us? I mean, it's all volunteer. You don't have to. This inviting Jesus in to make your life a better place and change your world for the better, it's all up to you. You don't have to, but you could. And the beautiful thing is, it wouldn't just make your world better. It's going to make the world around you a better place. Doesn't the world need to be a little better this week? Look, if you don't have a relationship with God, it's your call, but you could start one and say, Jesus, I need that. I want you in my life. I want you to fill me with your spirit. And I want to be better. I want a healed heart. And you just talk to God. You can talk to him about whatever. Heck, man, you might just need help making rent this month. That's okay, too. Whatever there is, talk to God about it.
Where do you go when you need someone to listen to your problems and give you a big hug? Not here. Obviously. This is The Riot on RadioU.
The Göteborg Film Festival
The Goatborg?
Yeah.
Is that
brought to you by the people that bring you the flaming goat every Christmas.
It does sound like that, but it seems like a maybe not a mainstream one that we're used to hearing about for film festivals.
It's not. So it is coming from Sweden, and here's the idea.
Is it a big one for them?
Well, big one may not be the right word. So I guess they've had this film festival for a while, keeping in mind that I'm not overly familiar with it. And they have decided this year to turn it into an isolated film festival.
Mm-hmm.
So they have 3 places that they are asking someone to live for a week, and you will be the film festival. You will live.
So you'll watch all the movies?
Uh-huh.
And do they provide food?
They provide food and lodging.
Okay.
And the movies, and they'll provide basically a camera where they want you to vlog your experience.
Oh, with it?
Yeah.
That's so far not too bad.
So the options, the big one that everyone's talking about right now is the one that's happening in this lighthouse, where there's a lighthouse that's out in the ocean.
That you can stay and watch the movies at?
You'll live in the lighthouse for a week.
Oh, well... Oh, wow. That's intense. Like, I'm actually looking at a picture of it.
Yeah.
Is the water always so high? It just seems right there.
I don't know the answer to that.
Seems like
look,
a
there's
storm's
actually a
going
little
on.
house right next to it.
Yeah,
So
there's a
there's
couple
the
of
lighthouse,
buildings.
but there's a house.
So so what, did they give you, like, just you already have it? I mean, there's not internet, it doesn't seem like there. So
maybe
you'll have to have it downloaded already.
Or they'll just give you like 60 Blu-rays or something.
Maybe.
I don't know. But that's the idea. January 30th through February 6th at the Hamnaskar Göteborg Archipelago. They're going to have one person that will
stay at the lighthouse
that will get it. But as many people as one can apply. And just because you're here in the U.S. doesn't mean you can't apply.
Well, I mean,
you still can.
Can you get over there in time?
I don't know if they're going to provide transfer. I don't know anything about that.
I doubt it. And I think that would be harsh because what if your movie was at the end of the 7 days, like closer to the end? If I had to stay isolated at a lighthouse on an island for that long, I think my opinions on things would be changed by the end of the week. I'd be affected.
Well, interestingly enough, Nikki, they actually say that that's part of what they want to look at with the film festival is how does watching movies in isolation affect you?
So this is called the Pandemic Cinema Experiment.
So, for example, let's look at Wonder Woman 1984. I went into that movie completely absent of internet hype. I did watch it alone in my basement. I loved it. I came out of my basement to find out that the rest of the internet hated it.
Sure.
So was my experience different than, say, if I had watched Wonder Woman 1984 in a packed theater on opening night?
You might have really not liked it.
So that's some of what they're talking about.
They want to explore a world, which a lot of us, after and with this pandemic, what does film mean to us when we're isolated from everything else?
Yeah. I imagine that at some point, your reactions to the films you watch would become a lot more visceral because the characters in those films would begin to take the place of daily interaction.
They say that the 2 requests for a winner, the rules are you have to be a true film fan. And the second one is you must be able to enjoy or tolerate solitude well. They don't want you going
crazy.
All out of it like 2 days in and they got to rescue you. So they don't want to do that. And then another one is you'll be expected to document the experience with a video diary. So you have to communicate your thoughts on it.
Do you? I wonder if they would qualify me as a film fan.
Yeah, you could just show them a picture of your collection of movies.
Yeah, but they might look at that and be like, those are movies. We want a film fan.
Yeah, a lot of your stuff is not always award-winning.
A little too mainstream.
No, I think you would actually be a perfect fit for it. Because then, they want to see how you respond to more artistic style movies.
Yeah, I'm going to pass, but I love the idea.
So if you want to be at the lighthouse for 7 days on some island, just you.
I would tell you the name of the website you can go apply at, but it's in Swedish. I'll never get it right. Just Google Lighthouse Film Festival or something. You'll find it.
This is the Worst of the Riot podcast.
at what point do people start talking about 2021 as being the worst year ever?
Everything I see online is that we all just feel like it's still just the same year. So I don't feel like we think it's going to be worse yet, but it's just not the best thing like we thought.
I do like the meme I saw yesterday of Joker showing Pennywise around. Mm-hmm. It was like 2020 introducing 2021 to the boys or something like that. And so I get it, but there is a couple of podcasts I listen to, and on two of them, each one has a guy that he went on this rant about just like 2020. And he said some very choice things that I will not be endangering us of a fine.
Not on our broadcast.
Right. In order to say. And the funny thing is, and I never do this and there's no point in doing it, but I wanted to send him clips of the same time period last year where he essentially did the same thing about 2019.
Sure.
And how it was the worst year ever and like all this kind of stuff. And to be clear, I heard so many people say like, I wish we could just get 19 over with. Just want to get it over with. Just want to get it over and over and over. We did this again with 2020. So I'm just asking, at what point in 2021 do we turn our hyperbolic anger and internet angst towards a new year instead of the old year?
Well, maybe we just don't like any years. We just don't like anything, especially as you get towards the end of it, when I think in December we were all ready for, this is not just this past year, but every year in December, we're always ready for it just to close out so that we can start fresh again.
I want to start fresh.
Come January with some ideas that we want to bring to the table. We just had a lot of options this year of things we wanted to kind of get out of.
Yeah. Things that we had zero control over.
Correct.
So if I have zero control over something and I'm so excited about how it's going to change when I'm going to change something I have control over. Watch this. I'm going to put a new calendar on the wall. Everything's different.
Well, you have some control with that.
Yeah, but it's not. It's
I know. It's just how we are every year. It's just that last year was a really strong year for it.
I know. Maybe I'm just too negative, but it's driving me a little crazy. And I'm just like, guys, we're just going to go back to saying, man, 2020, you thought 2020 was bad.
That's the worst part. Everyone will say that right there.
You thought it was bad, 2021. And I'm like, guys, remember when you were like, oh, remember when 2019 was bad? It's every year it's bad. I mean, granted, I do feel like 2020 had its own unique challenges.
Sure. They were big ones.
Yeah, but I don't know. We're going to be saying the same thing this year. The same thing.
You think everybody should just expect or accept that earlier on in the year?
Yeah. Yeah. Or maybe not. And I know you're like, be hopeful. I am hopeful. I want it to be better, but I'm hoping for the best, but I'm preparing.
So that makes him not hopeful. But again, we're more leaning towards a realist.
Listen, I'm hopeful, but I got a case of toilet paper.
Just in case.
I do. I have a whole case. I ordered it on Amazon because I was like, you know what? If it happens again, at least I'll die clean. Did I just say that out loud? I'm sorry I said that.
The Riot, not everyone's fan.
I wonder whose idea this was.
RadioU.
Go ahead. Just let it out. You don't have to hold it in.
Just yawn if you need to yawn.
I'm not mad at you.
No, I think you are understanding that for a lot of people, it's just needed and you don't feel bad about it.
Okay, Nikki. Dr. Nikki.
Yeah, what's up?
Well, I appreciate your opinion because Nikki observes me up close. Unfortunately, you guys too do as well because I forget that the mics are hooked up.
But imagine I can observe even more.
Right. So I'm listening back to while we're in the studio. I normally don't work on our podcast until the show is over.
Sure.
But today I'm making an exception for reasons that it's none of your business. Okay.
They weren't worrying about it.
Okay. Stop looking at me.
They're not looking.
Okay. So I was doing that. I'm listening back to the show.
Yeah.
And I feel like there's a tone.
There's a tone.
Do you feel like today's show has a tone?
You don't. It's not you get an urgency to you, but it's amped up. Sometimes you're more amped up.
Okay.
And he's putting his coffee cup down.
Oh my God. Well,
I noticed because you bang the table sometimes, but you were really moving a lot with your arms today. So yeah, you were just more amped up maybe than normal.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I'm checking in on. I'll tell you what I've been doing. Real talk here. This week, I've been putting a real strong emphasis on making good choices for my mental health. I feel like I was sliding a little bit there.
But you were starting to work out again this week?
Yeah, I've been working out and whatever. And something I noticed last night was that I had a whole bunch of nervous energy.
Yeah.
And I'm feeling it again this morning. I feel like tapping my
jittery.
finger.
Yeah, it's jitters.
I haven't had more coffee than normal. I haven't had more anything than normal.
That's just your body, I think, is more tired from trying to work on mental stuff and physically just more tired, too. And this is the first full week back for a lot of people from who had a break during the holiday.
So your body's just tired. It's just dumping nervous energy in to keep me awake?
Exactly.
Okay.
Because it thinks, what are we doing today? We need to keep going.
All right.
So it's totally normal.
Okay. You're not worried?
I'm not worried.
You would tell me.
If it was Monday or Tuesday and you were as amped up, then I would be a tiny bit concerned. But because it's Friday, everybody's feeling it.
So what you're telling me is that your level of concern
is low at this point, but it is noticed.
Okay. Well, I'm sorry for the thing I said when I was amped up. I didn't mean it. And I mean that about the whole show today.
Just in case anyone got offended by any part of it.
The Riot Podcast. RadioU.
Nikki, you can have $100,000.
Well, thank you. You are so generous.
But
what?
You have to have 3 kids.
To get the money or?
No. Do
I have to give the company the kids? What is this?
It's going to look like this. Okay. There is a town in South Korea that has just come up with this plan. They say, and this is, it's interesting that this is an issue. I don't know if it's affecting China because they have the largest population on earth, but in Japan and South Korea, they say the birth rates are way down.
Yes.
And they're concerned about the overall population of their countries.
Well, in Japan, there's a weird generation where a lot of people have kind of here we think about, you're going back to move in with your parents sort of thing. But in Japan, it's kind of along the same lines, but they never leave.
Right.
So they're just staying there. Then your parents, that generation is dying off, but no one then is keeping the population going.
Well, you just take your parents' house and play video games all day.
But then no one's getting married and having kids. So they're having, especially when people move into city areas, the one documentary I watched on these towns in Japan, no one's there anymore. If they're out in the country, the outer areas, because everybody has either passed away or moved somewhere else and they're just gone.
Do you think maybe their parents haven't had the talk with them?
Maybe. I don't know.
maybe the parents are feeling they have a health class.
Well, that's no one wants to get married, but no one even wants to just have a boyfriend or a girlfriend.
Yeah. Well, there are a lot of work and money and effort.
Yeah. So everybody's just busy doing other things. So
yeah, maybe that's why dating simulators are so popular in Japan.
Yes, that's why.
Next. But here's the deal. There's a town in South Korea. Mm-hmm. They are offering, if you're married, they'll give you $100,000.
If you move to the town?
Yeah. And so it's basically a very, very low interest loan for you to start life or buy a house or whatever you want to do. And if you have one kid, 30% of the loan is forgiven. If you have 2 kids, 60% of the loan is forgiven.
Oh.
If you have 3 kids
while you're living there,
100% of the loan is forgiven.
Is forgiven, but you have to use the loan to stay in the area? You have to move there?
I don't know. I don't know all of the stipulations. I assume, of course, that to get the loan, you're going to have to live in that town.
Yeah, it's too much pressure.
Right. You may have to live there for an extended period of time. But
so what was the town in South Korea?
It's called Changwon.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, they're probably wanting, because, again, everybody's leaving these outer areas to go to more populated areas. So you have these towns where it's just deserted.
Well, and I will say, okay, let's say that you were going to get married anyway, and you were probably going to end up buying a house. And so you find out, hey, if you move to this town, we'll give you $100,000. And you'd be like,
yeah, but we don't even like traveling out of the city. I don't know. It depends on if you're okay living in an area where there's not a lot of people.
I don't know. They say a population in that city of over 1 million.
Yeah.
That's kind of a lot, right? I mean, it's not huge.
Sure.
But, I mean, they probably at least have like a Bed Bath & Beyond and a Target.
That's your choices?
Oh, I mean.
Do you go to any of those?
You think they have an Olive Garden?
That's our other conversation.
See earlier points in the show.
Well, if you're listening, you're like, yeah, I want that. I will take that much money. You'll have to move to this area.
Olive Garden, it's trash.
The worst of the riot is over, but the fun can keep going.
Hey, I saw you checking out my goods.
Check the Riot blog or stalk us on social media.
You want to sample them? A little try before you buy, huh?
Through riot.radiou.com.
I'm a flippy, you are flippy.